just for starters, um, what is it about this goofy image that might explain why journalists have a hard time telling the story of artificial intelligence? Anybody have any thoughts? Yes?
Is there afraid AI is going to take our jobs one day?
It's kind of scary. Yeah, it's intimidating, right? Anything else?
Well, AI is kind of a misnomer. It's like a collection of all these different
Yeah, it
algorithms.
is.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, this is a personification of a technology. Anybody else?
It kind of looks to me like the journalist himself is kind of a robot. So AI influences all of us in our normal lives, whether we have an Alexa at home.
Good. And yes?
AI is changing so fast we don't know what we're talking about when ChatGPT is already outdated.
You are correct. It is changing so fast, and everybody's embracing it, right? Corporations, governments, educational institutions, people are freaked out. You know, students are going to wreck higher education because they're going to cheat their way through college on ChatGPT. You know, there's all kinds of threats. It's kind of scary. So we're going to talk about a little bit of that today. And I've never used a mouse in so long. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we're talking about media literacy, because we all need to get more literate about this. Ethics, because this technology is challenging us on many levels ethically. And what exactly AI is and what it isn't. So I want to talk about that. And I also, we're going to do a hands-on thing. I'm going to help you learn how to talk to ChatGPT. How do you talk to artificial intelligence, which is how are you going to use this tool? So we'll have a little something for you to do. Finally, talk about an AI code of ethics for journalists, which I think we could safely say is still under construction. We're not there yet. Okay, so, all right. So what I find scary about this, and this is kind of a typical illustration of a story on AI, right? You see these all the time. So we've been conditioned to, by science fiction, that these, this is all about dystopian robots taking over the world, right? How many movies have you seen with that narrative, right? And it actually, we personify it, we call it intelligence, but actually AI is just a bunch of software. It's just a bunch of software tools created mostly by companies in Silicon Valley. Interested in what? Money. Exactly. It's all about money. So when we anthropomorphize AI, we are giving it power that it doesn't. Well, it's got a lot of power. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but it's not that kind of power. It's not a robot that's going to take us over. Doesn't have any agency, right? It's just code. It's not a person, and it's got a lot of hidden features and a lot of hidden drawbacks. So, this is a better illustration of what AI actually is. This is from the New Yorker. I think it's brilliant. Basically, a can of anchovies, right? The kind of cans that, and it's got kind of a human face. But really, it's just zeros and ones. It's just a huge data set. And so, anyway, that's just the aesthetic part. But when we give agency, human agency, to those AI tools, we make them magically powerful and maybe give them more power. And we make a lot of false. Yes. All right. This is a CNN headline. AI may be as effective as medical specialists at diagnosing disease. No. A tool used by a human. You see how glib that is? It's glib and it overstates. Sure, it'll be great, but it's not going to replace a doctor. It's not going to diagnose an illness. It's going to give a human being more information. So the human being, when we deal in those kinds of superficialities, we get in trouble. Now, right there. Yes, okay. So giving that false impression that AI is more powerful than it actually is. We spend an awful lot of time cheerleading Silicon Valley investors. How many stories have you read about Elon Musk? Everywhere, right? How many stories have you read about Sam Altman, ChatGPT? And not really question what their motives are. We're kind of worshiping the power. And we're not significant environmental and social justice issues that artificial intelligence raises. Oh, and by the way, I can send you a link to this slide deck because there's a lot of material. So all you have to do is email me or we'll get that. We can, so you don't have to take notes. And a really weird thing that we're doing, downplaying the role of humans in creating AI. And this okay, this is a Time magazine story. I've only seen 2 versions of this story. A little known fact, you think that, there's some kind of magical AI factory out there pumping it out. But actually, there's a lot of human work that goes into AI, and it's mostly done in developing countries. And while the lords of Silicon Valley are bringing home the bucks, the people who are so there's a lot of automated labor in AI, but there are also a lot of people like this illustration who are summarizing articles, bashing bugs, dealing with offensive content, all day long. And they're getting paid $2 an hour, which is completely wrong. Now, I'm dyslexic, so this just drives me nuts.
Right there.
Right there. Okay, so next one. So what is AI? We've had it since the 1950s. It's been around, all kinds of stuff. It's a broad set of tools that draws on a great big database in order to make predictions or decisions. That's what software is. And so what have we got? We got all kinds of stuff. GPS, Siri, Alexa, Grammarly. How many people use Grammarly? Lots. Spell check, autocomplete, all that. But the real game changer that has occurred in the past year is generative artificial intelligence, right? And that's what a chatbot is made of. And generative artificial intelligence is the term of art. And here's just a little guide there's a million tools out there, but ChatGPT is the big room, elephant in the room. So that's called predictive speech to text, right? It's a very user-friendly narrative, right? User-friendly. Speaks in a sweet voice. And it confidently gives you answers. However, how many people have played with ChatGPT? Okay? Is there something missing there with the answers? What is it? Facts. Sources, attribution. That is common sense for a journalist, right? So, journalistically speaking, it's useless, right? Bing is really interesting. That's Microsoft and ChatGPT made a big common investment. And so Bing, Microsoft's really crappy search engine, really like the worst. It was defeated by Google a long time ago. Anyway, their Bing search engine is now sitting on top of ChatGPT technology. And actually, Bing provides attribution and sources. So it spins out a narrative, but it also actually gives you some ground. Gemini is Google's chatbot. It used to be called Bard, and it's still in the shop. I mean, it's in beta. But from what I've read, where Google is heading with this, and this is scary, is that it will change the search experience. We're used to searching for something, and then you get a bunch of blue links that then you can check. Looks like Bard is going into the direction of just giving a narrative without linking to anything else, without source. So we'll see. The jury's on it. Down here, DALL-E is just one of many text to image generators, right? So you can speak an illustration, or you can take text and turn it into a video. And I don't know that much about DALL-E, but it's it's scary. And then I just put in Otter AI and Zoom because, yes?
I'll say, I think it's ChatGPT-4.
Yeah. Is it integrated in it?
Yeah. Either DALL-E or a different image
Yeah.
generator. It's pretty good with DALL-E.
Yeah, but it's going so fast. It's amazing. There's something new every month. How many people use Otter AI? How many people use Zoom transcripts? I'm using. What else do you use that could be called artificial intelligence? Siri. In your journalistic work. I mean, we heard the photography panel was fascinating, talking about the verification that I can help you do. It's changing everything. And when you think about something like Otter AI, just don't want to let this go. Otter AI claims 97% accuracy. What's a journalist to do with that? Good enough for journalism?
No.
Right. So why are we using it? How are we using it? How are we using it? Most professionals who are using Otter AI also take simultaneous notes. I mean, that's what we did at Western. Yes, you can use Otter AI, get your real-time transcript, but you have to take your own notes and then you have to reconcile the two. You can't. A human always has to be in the loop. Same thing with Zoom transcripts. And the metrics on that are changing fast. A couple of weeks ago, they were claiming 70% accuracy. Now they're claiming 97. But again, terrible at names, right? If you're covering a public meeting, they're not going to get it right. So you can't just think that this news robot, the picture that I first showed you, is what's happening when you're using AI. So, large language model. Everybody familiar with that term? You know what that is? It's like, they're just scraping all kinds of indiscriminate content off the internet. So, copyrighted material, books, papers, articles, hate speech, bogus fantasies. It's all kind of gathered up, billions and billions and billions of bits. And then that's the raw material from which a ChatGPT narrative is generated. So it's not a robot, it's not a sentient being, it's a parrot. You can it can say stuff, but it has no agency. It doesn't know anything, doesn't know who you are, it doesn't know what it's talking about. It's simply matching patterns. Which is kind of amazing. Holly does not know what a cracker is. Neither does ChatGPT. So here's the difference. Writing is going out into the world and experiencing things. Writing is synthesizing things. Writing is mixing your observations with your imagination and your inspiration. Writing is work. It's creative, wonderful work. Generative AI is simply matching patterns. It's just a pattern. So we don't tell that story very well. And if we as journalists don't tell that story, so training data. This is another kind of terminology that you really need to understand. What do ChatGPT and the other large language models do? They up into a great big kettle, publicly available comment from the internet, content license. They're actually starting to pay for some content, like they just did a big deal with the New York Times. So news articles. And then information, every time you use a chatbot, that stuff also goes into training data. It's a great big gloppy mess. And some of it is unsavory. And the interesting thing is that you never get the same answer twice from ChatGPT. Every time you put your ladle in that kettle of soup, you get a different bunch of ingredients. It baffles me that, with these logical flaws, that we've managed to turn this technology into like the greatest thing that ever happened. Oops, what'd I do?
Hold on. Get back for you.
Oh, good thing I have an assistant. Ask me questions. Because they're matching patterns. It's not. You can get some things twice.
Wouldn't they just match the same thing?
Yeah, you get it. It's slightly different. It's not like enormously different.
Yeah.
But it's like it defies basic scientific method, which is we search for truth that is replicable, right? Yes.
I think at first it did replicate a lot of how people were able to find like the plagiarism patterns and things like that. But I think now like the updates allow it to, and the feedback, like you said, from users allow it to just generate different answers.
And it's getting better every day. Software is always an iterative process. You just keep doing it and doing it. But it's kind of scary. And yet, you know, it's wonderful too. They don't let it. Okay, that is. Gonna
Just
help
go to
me?
the tab just to the left of that one.
I know, that one. Thank God I have this system. There you go. All right, now on to the next slide. Okay, so it's a tool. This technology is morally and ethically neutral. Not good or bad. It all depends on the intention of the humans who make it, on the outcomes. But that's where the ethical dimension is. Next one. Thank you. Now, if you just click a couple times, those things will come up. I feel certain. There you go. Okay. Just go to this one. So this is what it can do. It can generate answers to a wide variety of questions, and it's kind of impressive. It's really great at summarizing documents. Really great. Its most salient feature is that it can create plausible sounding narrative. It cannot predict anything. It can't. Don't ask it to predict the weather tomorrow because it can't. It can't predict. Okay, next one. Okay. Its limitations are many. The free version of ChatGPT was last updated in 2021. If you want to pay, you can get them. It provides no information on sourcing. Next one. Can't predict the weather.
Oh.
No, keep going. They're going to fly in there. There you go. It can and does produce culturally biased content. Why?
Data needs to be trained on culturally biased data, then it's going to be biased.
It reflects all of the turmoil and bias and prejudices and illuminating thoughts that are all up there. It routinely violates copyrights. Just taken any content. And we've seen what Silicon Valley did with social media, the way it decimated the news business, right? By just taking stuff. They're doing the same thing again. And it invades privacy because kind of as the cost of admission, as is with most internet technology, is okay, you can have my information in exchange for whatever it is that I want to give you. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. Okay, so these are the kinds of the things that can go wrong. Disinformation. We're going into a political season now, and it's going to be formidable. Gender and racial bias, definitely, because it's mostly created by white guys for white guys. Sorry, guys. How much experience have you seen of deep fakes? Give me an example.
It was a while ago, so there should be a deep fake trailer to back to Tom Holland as well as Marty McFly and Robert Downey Jr. as the doctor.
Well,
And people were thinking it was real, like left and right, and I think Tom Holland might have sued people who made it.
yeah, no doubt, yeah. Did you have one? Yeah.
I believe director Jordan Peele's deepfake narration of Obama saying some very interesting things that definitely created very strong feelings across the world.
From Joe Biden telling
Yes.
people to not vote in a primary, but wait for November.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the most interesting stuff, like a few months ago, it started coming out a little more. That stuff is, you can put anything.
Yeah. And just think about copyrights on that, you know? And it's really, I have this, it really goes right to the heart of the creative process in a very, very nasty way. You know, what is it that makes us artistic beings, creative? This can so tamper with that. I don't know what the cost will be, but, you know, yes. Okay, so this is a good one. Swift with a Trump flag on X recently. And if you would click that link, there's a really interesting new tool. As much as these bad things, and you could scroll up and see it, truemedia.org. There's some good ones here. But actually test the veracity of the video. So, you know, and one part of the technology world, you know, is enabling deepfakes. These guys are, you know, have come up with a good disabling of deepfakes. So that can be very helpful to reporters in a political season so that you can actually, you know, kind of track this. Okay, next one. All right, I'm gonna, we spend a lot of time, the media, celebrating people like Musk and Altman, and what we hardly ever hear about Joy Buolamwini, I'm not pronouncing her name right. She's a poet and a computer scientist at MIT, and this is a trailer to her film on the racial bias built into facial recognition. It's just a quick little film clip. It's about 3 minutes, but it's really good. Can we get a full screen? Oh, we got it. Look at that. What? Right there.
Semester at MIT, I got computer vision software that was supposed to track my face. It didn't work until I put on this white mask. I'm thinking, all right, what's going on here? Is it the lighting conditions? Is it the angle at which I'm looking at the camera, or is there something more? That's when I started looking into issues that can creep into technology.
Ideas about technology that we think are normal are actually ideas that come from a very small and homogeneous group of people.
Vast amounts of data at incredible speed.
Everybody has unconscious biases, and people embed their own biases into technology.
This kid got stopped as a result of facial recognition misidentification, and then used that as justification to search you. This is an innocent child.
Becoming recognized.
Systemic issues are only going to be hardwired into new technologies.
It's not just face classification, it's any data-centric technology.
Every day, we are all being scored.
Who gets hired?
I am making predictions for your life right now. The people who own the code deploy it on other people, and there is no accountability.
Management analytics house wanted to install the facial recognition software. Pretty much turn this place into Fort Knox.
The technology is being rapidly adopted, and there are no safeguards.
We are socially controlled in a way that we don't see.
Technology that analyzes faces could be biased, but the company is pushing it anyway.
What demographic is it most effective on?
White men.
Show me that it's going to be fair, that it's legal, before you put it out. That's what we don't have yet.
It's going to justice in this age of automation.
So she is the founder of something called the Algorithmic Justice League, which is, whoa, you like that? I know. Why don't we write stories about things? Why are we reading about Elon Musk? That's a systemic failure of journalism. Because that's all out there. And you have to write these stories, right? That's what's so great about it. So this is another example of really great journalism on AI. This this was, have you ever heard of the publication called STAT, S-T-A-T? It's a medical and health nonprofit. It's based in Boston and it's underwritten by a lot of philanthropy. They did great work, better work than anybody covering COVID-19. Anyway, this piece was a finalist in the Goldsmith Awards at Harvard. And I thought it was brilliant, a brilliant example of how AI, this is a story about social injustice on the part of AI, and also just great shoe-leather reporting by these two reporters who relied on whistleblowers in nursing homes to alert them that United Healthcare, which is this giant insurance company, was using an algorithm to limit the amount of time people spent in rehab recovering from heart attacks. And, you know, it's just amazing, amazingly good scientific reporting and really getting into the guts of AI and how it can be used for ill. So that was great. Okay, so I'm gonna speed through this. I'm gonna speed through these slides because, well, you can look at it later. It's just how various BAP, Reuters, Bloomberg, how they're all automating their systems to use AI in the reporting process, which is really good. But I want to just get to the hands-on part here.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
There.
Okay, keep going. Okay, so this is, get out your laptops and get ready. So you can use AI to generate story ideas, right? This is not about reporting, it's about, kind of research. You can research and frame stories, transcribe interviews, translate documents, this is amazing, right? Summarize documents, suggest headlines, brainstorm, get started. You can't use it to write a story, and you never would anyway. So now, keep going. Okay, so how do you talk to a chatbot? Chatbot is just a big kettle of soup, right? So and it doesn't have any moral agency. You have to train it. So there's kind of 4 basic things that you have to tell the chatbot in order to make it perform well for you. The first thing it needs to know is who you are, okay? And why you're asking the question. Second thing is it needs a value system. You need to give it some parameters. I don't want crap in my answer, right? So you need to give it an ethical framework. You need to be very clear about what you're looking for. And the chatbot needs to know the quality, do you want to use it to plan your 6-year-old's birthday party, or do you want to use it to cover, topic of domestic abuse, It's got to know what kind of information you're looking for. So your prompts have to be journalistically sound. And here's what it looks like. For agency, the most important words, act as if. Act as if you are a journalist. Give it some ethics. A journalist guided by the SPJ Code of Ethics. Then you define the task, and then you ask it to find out more. So, this is, act as if you're a journalist guided by the SPJ Code, develop a coverage plan for a series of stories investigating the experiences of homeless children. Boom. Those are the 4 golden prompts. The last prompt is, you ask them that question, gives you an answer, and then you say, tell me more of what I need to thoroughly research this. And if you do those 4 things, you will get some really interesting results. So, now, this is another example of the prompts. Act as if you're a historian and you're trying to find primary sources on a historical event. That way you sweep all of the garbage out of the way and you get the chatbot to find what you want. Find credible sources that describe the expulsion of indigenous people from Washington State. Boom. So now you're going to try this by going to, so it's HTTPS APAI pedagogy, sorry, that's a really long word, .org/guide/tutorial. That up there for a minute. You want to try it? I don't see anybody typing. Open your laptops and do it. Okay, all right, it probably works on a phone too. So you can click here.
Okay.
All right? Let's do this together. Okay, so this project was started by the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and they have an AI project. So, hello, I'm your teaching assistant. Okay, now, all right, let's try this together. We'll think about those 4 golden prompts, and, okay. How can I assist you today? This links to ChatGPT. This is just a hack into ChatGPT. So, I'm here. So, write your first prompt. This prompt should be pretty simple, and they suggest, let's ask it, what are you? All right, let's ask the chat bot. Oh!
Just go to ChatGPT, the actual website.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. Smart. Anyway, this may or may not work, and I may not have. All right. Ask it, what are you? Okay, I'm an AI. How can I assist you today? All right. Should we work together and ask it a question to develop a coverage plan? Right? Let's do an act as if. Somebody do some really fast thinking. What's our idea? Somebody give me an idea.
I'm trying to get it to cover like this.
Like a conference.
Like that's ridiculous.
Oh, but it's got information from 2021. That won't work.
Exactly.
It won't work. Okay.
How about act as if you are a journalist covering the 2024 Washington State governor's race using credible sources, identify the candidates and their polling.
Whoa. You want me to do your work for you?
No, it's stuff, it's learning, it's pointing, it's telling everybody what's.
But it doesn't, it's, I'm not sure, it won't work because the time frame's not right. Remember, it's only got data from 2021, so it doesn't know that, yes. Oh, okay. Okay. Are the the candidates? And what are their platforms? Okay? There we go.
Oh my gosh, that's
Not bad, huh? Instantaneous. Okay. If I ask that question again, and it'd be so much to type it. Do you want, let's just try another one. Give me another topic. Yes.
the press conference downtown Seattle on February 29th, 2020 that announced the first COVID death.
The first what?
COVID death in Kirkland.
Well, let's see how, does that do it?
I don't have my glasses.
Oh, act as if you're a journalist guided by blah, 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 covering a press conference announcing the first COVID deaths in 2020. Now, you know, and so you see where this is going.
Probably stole stuff from my article that I wrote.
And you put all that work in and you could just. Now, notice, there are no sources. So what? You have to check everything, you know? But it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna ask it another question. I'm gonna ask it, what is your training data? I'm gonna ask it how it knows this. Okay, so in answer to like, where'd you come up with this? As an AI developed by OpenAI, I don't have direct access to my training data or know where it came from. However, I was trained on a mixture of licensed data, data created by human trainers, and publicly available data. These information, including books, websites, blah, blah, blah. It's important to note that while I strive to provide accurate and helpful information, I may not always have the most up-to-date or comprehensive. So, a disclaimer. Now, you know, when you as a journalist are asked, where are your sources, you know, so it's useless. I'm sorry that we've been, for whatever reason, probably a Seattle Times firewall or something that I can't get into my Harvard thing, but I encourage you to, on your own time, go back and try it yourself and go through the 7 steps, because you'll find out more interesting things about how ChatGPT works. It's really scary that, you know, so many people are embracing this despite, you know, the flaws. Yes?
So there was that big lawsuit with the New York Times. You know, I'm sure that all of us have written find that our articles.
No. I mean, well, cases are working their way through courts very soon. My favorite one she had a very unique style, and she was very, she kind of Gen Z, and kind of ironic, dry little slices of life, and little four-panel cartoons. Well, the Dolly generator sucked up her cartoons, and now anybody, I could go and I could say, draw me a picture in the style of Sarah Stone, where we're talking about melted ice cream. And her art has now been sucked in, and now anybody, it's kind of gross, it's not nice, it's like a handed. But she said, so she's taking it for, as is Sarah Silverman, the comedian, because in the book, Stephen King, this is all working to so it's challenging our copyright law. It's not challenging, it's stamping all over it, and it's very distressing. Quite distressing. Okay, I'm gonna move back here to my slides, and I'm just gonna not do what I planned to do. Just to conclude, obviously, we as journalists need a code of ethics. Handle this technology. You don't want somebody stressed out at the 11th hour before a deadline is due, going to Bing, which actually does have sources, and pulling a story out of the internet. You don't want that to happen, obviously. People are human. Don't fly solo with AI. And news organizations need to come together and have a comprehensive set of ethics. I think the SPJ Code of Ethics works pretty well for using AI. Seek the truth and report it fully and fairly, okay? That means for you as news gatherers, you need to understand everything you can about the pros and cons of AI, and when it's appropriate to use it, and how to use it. And you need to tell meaningful stories about how AI is made and how it's affecting our lives. It's the story that you will be telling throughout your journalistic career. Minimize harm. Understand that AI reflects all the toxic biases of society and the internet. And so proceed with caution. That means using Otter AI, take notes. Don't rely strictly on technology to do your work. Act independently. Cultivate skepticism about AI. Fact check every claim. If you use it, and you can use it, especially to brainstorm stories or to correct your grammar, whatever, be sure you're right. Be transparent and accountable. That means if you're using AI and you're reporting, you need to tell your audience. I don't think you have to tell your audience every time you use Otter AI, but if it's a main, there's some great reporting where you could use artificial intelligence to scan 50,000 documents, and extract information. You have to explain that to your audience. So, finally, for student journalists, use it carefully, use it in consultation. I really truly believe that artificial intelligence does have a role to play in the classroom, and it's not all bad, but you have to have some ground rules. And so, your professor, your editor needs to be in the loop. Independently verify everything. Don't use it to cheat or cut corners. And, take your own notes. Pointer has just come out with a template for a newsroom ethics policy. And it just was released last week. You're gonna have to have a lot of internal conversations about what components of an AI ethics policy is, but bring that back to your editors, to your newsroom. Yes?
I was gonna say, in a move of irony, a Pink Slime news site took Pointer's AI guide and had it rewritten by an AI.
Oh, no. And what did it look like?
A mess.
Yeah, well. Holly does not know what a cracker is.
You know?
Well, that's it for me. Any questions? We have to really get to the most important part of the day, which is the awards, which you all deserve to have. Good questions. And thank you. You are not a robot.
No.
Could you like brand?
Thank you.